Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Don Jackson and I work here at Perforce in the testing organization. In this video, we're going to show you how you could leverage Perfecto agentic AI capabilities in order to achieve objectives that you wouldn't be able to do with today's test automation solutions. Or if you were able to do it, it would be very difficult to do so and very time consuming. The business process in this case is to instruct the agentic AI to find an application for a retailer for a specific country and then download and install that app and set it up to work for people native to that country. The second step is to view the details of a product that's on sale and compare the product description to the image in order to see, does the image reflect what the actual description is? What makes this more challenging of a use case is that we're running this in 4 different countries. We're running this in the upper left-hand corner for France, in the lower right-hand corner for the United States, in the lower left corner for Egypt, and the upper right corner for South Korea. As you can see, we're also running this on a couple of different devices. One is a Galaxy S23 Plus, and the one is a Galaxy S22. You could also be running this on iOS devices, including iPads, or you could be running this on Android tablets as well. It doesn't really matter. You could run it on all of those. You could also run those all at the same time. What you see in the video is that we're running this in an interactive mode so that you can see at runtime all of the decisions that are being made by the agentic AI as it tries to achieve the objectives that we're going for. Now, as a user, I don't speak Korean or are able to read Korean. Same for Arabic for Egypt or French for France. The agentic AI is handling all those translations for me at runtime. What's really interesting is that the French site, it actually finds an app, tries to set up that app to run in France, and the app that it found actually doesn't run in France. So it tries to find yet another app that will work in there that's also a commonly used app as a French retailer. Now what you can see here is that on the lower left-hand corner, it's actually streaming the pictures are actually streaming through as a banner going across, and it's still able to validate that. And the lower left is actually finished already. It has come back and said, yes, the description matches the picture. The picture matches what's in the description. In the lower right-hand corner, you can see that it actually identified target for the United States and is near the end of that as well as it's bringing up the details. It's bringing up the details of the shoe, and now it's going to drill into that shoe to see the full details and compare that to what's in the image. In the upper right, you can see that it's dealing with the application wants them to log in. So it keeps having to go back and try to look at the ungated or the unlogged in version in order to do this because we don't have a user ID. Obviously, if this were your application, you'd be able to have it register a user and connect into that. But since we're using public domain information, we don't have that information. Now you can see that the lower right, the target one, has actually finished and validated that yes, the product description does match the image. What you're seeing in the upper left is the France application. It actually has to set up a store. This application requires you to select your store as your local store before you can actually get through it. And it's actually trying to see if there's a way to bypass setting up the store because that wasn't in the instruction set. The instruction set was to look for a product and see the description. And so it's seeing if there's a way to bypass that store. Now what you also see in the upper left-hand corner application is that that application actually has a tutorial for a first-time user, that it's got to go through the different tutorial steps and acknowledge the tutorial steps. Think about how you would have to script this today with today's test automation, with your current test automation solution. Now you can see the upper right-hand side, we now have a product description in there, and it's scrolling to make sure that it's got all of the product description visible so that it can go in and achieve the objective. In the upper left, in the French one, it's now connected through and selected the grocery stores to go through and do this. And you can see we have yet another pop-up that's come up and another set of tutorials that have come up that the AI is just handling that. We're not writing a script. We're not putting in some kind of behind-the-scene rules that are in there. The agentic AI is handling that on its own. Now, it's still working on more tutorials to teach you how to use the application. Now you can see on the upper right that the Korean website, it's actually finished through and achieved its objective. The objective of validating that the product description matches the product image. Once again, the tester, the user, didn't have to know that language in order to do it. I put it in my natural language, which was English. And now the only one that we have running is in the upper left, which is the France application. Now remember, the reason this one is taking as long as it is because we found an application, but that application didn't actually meet the objective, so it went out to find yet another application. And the second application it found had a lot of tutorials to teach users how to do that. And what you see it's doing right now is it's actually reading what's going on the screen. As you can see, there's a banner that's shifting across the top of the screen. So the screen's actually changing each time, and it's trying to determine whether or not the application is changing or not loading, or is it the case that it's actually loaded, and it sees that it's loaded. So now it's drilled into an application, a product, and is investigating the product to see if that product's description matches the image that it sees on the screen. And it's actually taking it a step further and scrolling through to see if there's more description that's in there that it needs to do. Now I was purposely vague as I gave the objectives for each of these steps because I wanted to see how it would make decisions and what it would do. Now it's actually finished that objective, and all four of them have done that.